Hi everyone, it's Joe from the Wrong Channel, and welcome to a special Christmas edition of my retro video game haul. Now, before I get into the actual haul, I want to go over a couple of things that have been going on as far as channel updates and things of that nature. I'm celebrating a nice little milestone for myself. I'm currently in the double digits for subscribers, so thanks to you, new subscribers. It might be a little thing, but you know, I like to celebrate the little things. You gotta stop and appreciate the little things in life. As far as retro reviews go, I do have some scripts written, but as far as me being able to actually film and edit those retro reviews, I'm gonna kind of put it off just for a little bit because the holiday season has really exhausted me, mostly through work. So I don't really want to kind of try to film these reviews and only go into them like half enthused. I want to get all my energy back so I can properly get down and record these things. I don't want to just, like sleepwalk through them. So anyway, how was your all's Christmases? Or whatever you celebrate as far as your religious beliefs go, because there are many different holidays going on this time of year. How was it for you guys? My Christmas, it was filled with
Doom!
Yeah, Doom. Super Nintendo Doom. It's one of the games that I have on my list that I intend on getting, like I said. I don't really have a Christmas list, just a list of things that I want to get eventually. And my folks chose some things off of them. Doom was one of them. Now, Super Nintendo port of this game, maybe not the strongest. The music is great, but, graphically, it's very hard to see what you're doing in that game. I'm sorry, I vastly prefer the PC port of the game. But you know what? This is still a pretty solid entry into the list. Graphically could have been better, but you gotta overlook some things because this is like a 3D first-person shooter game for the Super Nintendo. So, considering what they had to work with, that's very impressive. So I'm very happy I got this. Of course, you got like the awesome red color cartridge. Not too many Super Nintendo games have that. I know that the Carnage game had it, and there might have been one or two others I can't really think of off the top of my head. But it's kind of in kin with like the old NES games where you'd have like the Legend of Zelda games with the gold cartridges. Just like a throwback to that. And I always thought that was really interesting, make certain games stand out. And that's definitely one of them. So, in addition to that, Pitfall. I love me some Pitfall. Again, complete in box. Like, my parents are awesome like that. I didn't ask for a complete in box. I would have been just as happy with the cartridge, but, my parents, they're good to me, What can I say? I mean, as far as collecting goes, obviously you want complete in box if you can get it. You'll end up paying more, but, it's for a collectible item, so. Next, Prince of Persia for the NES. Again, complete in box. Now, I don't think I actually ever played the NES version of Prince of Persia. I played the PC version way back in the day, but I remember it being a fun game. And I'm not sure entirely how faithful this port is of that game, but, if it's anything like that game, then I'm definitely going to have some fun playing it, because I remember it being a really fun game. And lastly, from my Christmas haul, Maniac Mansion. Ooh, Maniac Mansion. Haha, I love games like this. It's a lot like a Sierra game, but it obviously wasn't made by Sierra. I say that because it's very in kin with like the King's Quest games, where you have to control a character, go throughout, some kind of environment. In this case, it's a mansion, and figure out what's going on, solve puzzles, all that kind of thing. Yeah, it's a really fun kind of game. Like, all those kinds of games are really fun and engaging. Makes you think, but you also have fun while you're doing it. So I've got a lot of respect for games like that. Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever legitimately played Maniac Mansion. Let me try saying that again. Maniac Mansion. I think I've probably played a ROM of it. I think that's the only kind of playing I've experienced with it, and it's kind of frowned upon, but you know, it was that kind of time when you didn't really have too many resources at your disposal. You want to experience a game, you might go to the dark side and play a little bit of a ROM. Sorry. But I've got it now legitimately, so, you know, I've made up for that, hopefully. But that's all the games that I got for Christmas. But I mean, they're complete in box, so I wasn't really expecting to get a whole slew of complete in box games. Wasn't really expecting to get any, actually, but, you know, I'm pleased as punch to have these four. It's awesome, you know? Like I said, I would have gladly taken just the cartridges, but cannot complain about complete in box. So yeah, those were the Christmas games that I got. But prior to that, I had gotten myself some other retro games. And let's see, we've got Indiana Jones, The Greatest Adventures. Now this is a lot, well, it plays a lot like the LucasArts Super Star Wars games, and I don't really know which came first. I want to say that the Super Star Wars games probably came first, because I think the graphics are just slightly better in this one, the Indiana Jones game. But basically what this game is it takes you through the events of the first three Indiana Jones movie, and really, obviously, doesn't have anything to do with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because, hello, it's Super Nintendo. You know, way before Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And it's how it should have been. But it's pretty faithful to the movies. Starts off Raiders of the Lost Ark and just takes you straight through the rest of the movies. But it's a side-scrolling platformer game. Can be challenging in areas. As an example, I will tell you, like, the third level, you get to the boulder stage where you have to outrun the boulder. You know, like the famous outrunning the boulder scene. The thing about that, how can I put this in perspective? If you've ever played Aladdin for the Super Nintendo, and you know when you get to the lava stage where you have to ride the magic carpet, yeah, the boulder stage is like that level, but on cocaine. It's intense. But, you know, aside from that, the music is great. This is just a really impressive game. I don't really hear too many people talk about it. I've actually heard more people talk about the Super Star Wars games than this one, and I'm not really sure why. Well, I guess currently because, you know, The Force Awakens is this huge phenomenon and everyone's talking about it. Still haven't seen it, but that could probably explain why more people are talking about the Super Star Wars games and not Indiana Jones. But I mean, even before that, I hadn't really heard many people talking about the Indiana Jones game. At least not this one. I have heard people talking about the N64 game more recently than this. But, you know, what are you gonna do? So, in addition to that, I also got Home Alone 2 for the SNES. Now, a couple months ago, I actually gotten Home Alone 2 for the NES. And I thought, well, you know, it's for the SNES, so maybe it's better than the NES, because sometimes that will happen. You know, the NES does have its limitations, and, you know, it can go either way, because like I've mentioned in the retro review of The Rocketeer, the NES version of The Rocketeer is vastly superior to the Super Nintendo version of The Rocketeer. But I was thinking, you know, because I had played Home Alone for the Super Nintendo, the first Home Alone game, and from what I remember, it was a pretty fun game. Playable. Definitely playable, but fun nonetheless. So I figured, well, maybe Home Alone 2 is that way as well. Because I've seen Home Alone for the NES, and it's a completely different game from the Home Alone version for the Super Nintendo. So I was thinking, maybe that's the same way with this. Because Home Alone 2 for the NES, it's really not playable. So I gave this one a try. I was actually going to do a live stream of it. That was my intention, like a Christmas live stream. But then when I played this, I realized, this is pretty much exactly the same as Home Alone 2 for the NES. You know, which is weird, like down to the music and everything. Like sometimes they'll change the music because obviously the Super Nintendo is capable of doing much better music than the NES. Did not happen with Home Alone 2. It is basically the same game as the NES, which is just very kind of disappointing. But I mean, I guess at least it adds to my collection, despite it being practically the same game and still practically unplayable. Well, that's unfortunate. That's all I can say about that. But in addition to that, I also picked up a Super Game Boy. So now I can expand my horizons. Instead of just NES and Super Nintendo, I can also get into the Game Boy games. Because Game Boy is another platform that I never really gotten into when I was younger. And there are a lot of great games for the Game Boy. In fact, I've picked a Castlevania game up, Castlevania Adventure, and I might do a review of it. I'm not sure. Haven't really decided because, like I said, I've got some plans for some games in the coming future, but I'm not sure where this would land. I haven't actually played it yet, but it is a Castlevania game, so you know I can't imagine it being too unplayable. But yeah, it opens up a lot more doors. So it's plans for the future. You know, there are, like I said, a lot of great games for the Game Boy. I don't personally know that, but I've heard, you know, and I can believe it. You know, because so many people can't be wrong, right? But anyway, I'm Joe from the Wrong Channel. And once again, I would just like to thank everyone for watching. Thank you to you new subscribers. Hopefully you get a kick out of the channel. I try to keep things as interesting as I can. Forgive me if I'm kind of out of it right now. Like I said, I'm pretty exhausted from the holidays. Not a good time for me as far as work goes, because it will definitely take a lot out of me. I've been waking up at 5 a.m. for the past 2 weeks, and I am not a morning person by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely a night owl, but again, thanks you guys for watching. Hope you've had a great holiday season. Hope you have a great new year. And above all, have a great day. Have a great day. That's douchey. But have a great day!